Welcome to the Theory of Nothing podcast. I'm your co-host, Brian Wiora.
I'm your co-host, Chris Keene.
We're already in a jovial mood.
Yeah.
And
that's the vibe I bring to podcasts.
That's right.
Brian. I don't bring it anywhere else in my life.
Well,
you see me pouting around the house.
That's true.
We live together, for anyone that doesn't know this.
You do pout around the house, but as soon as the cameras turn on, it's showtime for Chris Keene.
I'm a song and dance man.
Yeah, that's at heart.
Yeah.
Bob Dylan said that about himself, too.
Oh, that's right. He did.
Yeah. This episode of Theory of Nothing, for those of you, this is your first time tuning in, each episode we discuss a theory of something. And today's episode we are calling The Theory of Sitcoms.
Yes.
This is
the
a topic.
Ancient art form of sitcoms.
It predates the cave drawings.
Do you think an 18-year-old knows what a sitcom is?
I think they've heard the term.
Okay.
Actually, though, this is kind of interesting. This is an interesting place to start because I used to teach college courses back in my heyday when I peaked. I taught a lot of college courses, and one thing I would ask, on the opening day of class, I would ask them like favorite music, favorite movies, one question I would ask is like favorite TV show.
Okay.
And towards the end of me teaching, my students would say that they don't really watch TV shows, but they watch a lot of YouTube.
Yeah.
That seems to be a new thing, that you're not really watching TV shows, but just like Mr. Beast or whatever sort of YouTuber on a platform who makes like a series of videos.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically what I work on.
Right.
I mean, it's a different sort of thing. It's a news show. But yeah, I think that's been that way for a while now, hasn't it?
Yeah.
At least 5 to 10 years.
It feels that way.
Yeah.
It feels that way.
Yeah, I do. It makes me sad to see. I think there's been a death of the sitcom. I don't think it exists anymore. Maybe it does in some ways, but it's certainly not culturally relevant anymore.
Sure.
Whereas, dude, in the 80s and 90s, it was a huge part of our culture.
It was the biggest mass consumed, I think, thing on television.
Yeah.
Well, actually, that's not even saying that out loud. That has to be false, right? Because the news, and sports, have always been the two big things, and those are the two things that have survived. You could call it the television evolution or the disintegration.
Well, news hasn't really.
But like local news, people still watch local news.
Do they? What, people in their 60s, 70s?
Yeah, like an older generation. But the average television age viewer,
I would say sports is the only thing that has lasted.
In terms of our generation or generations below.
Okay,
sure.
yeah.
I know
true.
we've talked about this before, but do you consider yourself a millennial? What do you consider yourself?
Technically, I'm a millennial.
Okay.
But it's a zillennial. It's like in between. It's this weird in between group between Gen X and millennial.
Oh, interesting.
I'm like an old,
an elder millennial.
That's another term for it.
A geriatric millennial.
That's another term for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always related more with Gen X though than with millennial. So yeah, I feel Gen X inside.
Sure.
But yeah, technically I might be an older millennial. And you're a full-on.
I'm a full-on millennial. Yes.
Yeah.
I was born in 1994, which it's amazing how many kids now think that's like really old.
Yeah, dude, it's over for you. I mean, come on now.
Well, I think sitcom is a good topic to sort of talk about a lot of different things in terms of the cultural implications of this, how people are consuming media differently. Last episode we did the theory of media consumption.
Yeah, this kind of ties into
I think it ties into that a lot. But let's sort of start with the idea of a sitcom.
Yes.
According to Wikipedia.
Okay.
Our favorite,
very reliable news source.
Our favorite news source and a sponsor of the show, along with Jack in the Box and and because we have to mention him every episode, and Nick Dervasula.
Oh yes, Nick Dervasula. Thank God we got that in.
We got the Dervasula mention in. What is a sitcom, right? So according to Wikipedia, a sitcom is a genre of comedy produced for radio and television that centers on a recurring cast of characters as they navigate humorous situations within a consistent setting, such as a home, workplace, or community.
Okay, so by that, we had this conversation last night a little bit, but see, I equate a sitcom has to have canned laughter.
Right.
To me, like that is what makes a sitcom. But by that definition, like for instance, The Office would be a sitcom.
Yeah.
But I don't see it that way for some reason.
I want to get into all of that.
Yeah.
For sure. And I think that a good place to start is with the traditional sitcom.
Yeah.
So I read through the entire history of sitcoms, and this Wikipedia page on sitcoms mentioned these following sitcoms as the stereotypical sitcoms.
Oh,
are you ready for them?
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, maybe we do this as a game. What are the sitcoms you think they mentioned here? As like the archetypes of what a sitcom is.
Seinfeld would have to be on there.
Seinfeld's on here.
This is throughout history.
Yeah.
All in the Family.
All in the Family was not mentioned here.
Okay.
But I think that would fall for sure under the archetype.
Cheers.
Yep. Cheers is on here.
Friends.
Yep.
Okay. How many are on it?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8. You got 3 so far.
This has turned into Jeopardy now.
Yeah, that's right.
Other ones that are on the list. I don't know what they would have put on there. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I'm out of guesses.
I will read them in chronological order. I Love Lucy.
Oh.
Bewitched.
Yep.
The Beverly Hillbillies.
Okay.
The Mary Tyler Moore Show.
Oh, okay. So they went far back.
Gilligan's Island. Cheers, Friends, and Seinfeld.
Is MASH a sitcom?
You know what? I love knowing old things. This is one thing I don't think I've ever seen an episode of MASH.
Oh, that's wild because that's like one of the biggest shows ever.
I know of it, and I know of its cultural impact.
Yeah.
But I can't really tell you anything about it.
Oh, that's wild.
But this actually gets into something that's kind of interesting that I want to I want to let's bookmark this for a second, because I think one thing about a sitcom and why you and I wanted to have this is culturally the thing that separates a sitcom from what exists today is that everyone watched it.
Yes, well, this is like we don't have a monoculture anymore,
right?
And that is very bad for our society. I think.
Yes.
I think it adds to our division and all of that.
I think the one thing about all of these shows, and I was not alive really for any of them. I mean, I was alive in the 90s, but I was a baby, right? One thing I can say about the cultural impact of these shows is that it feels like these were shows that everyone watched.
Yes.
I Love Lucy in particular is one I want to talk about because my grandparents moved from India to America in the 50s.
Uh-huh.
And they spoke English kind of, but they learned a lot of the cultural phrases of English and American English from I Love Lucy.
Yes. Li Ting, a friend of ours, very funny comic. She's from China. She learned a lot of English from watching Friends.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is funny you bring up canned laughter, because imagine you going through and like waiting for people to laugh at everything that you said. Like you thought that reality was just canned laughter,
That's funny.
It's almost like a Twilight Zone episode, right?
Yes, that would make a great one.
Yeah, so these are interesting stereotypes of a sitcom, and it leads me to the question that you sort of asked, which is what makes a sitcom? So you think it's canned laughter or something?
Well, I always associated that with what makes a sitcom. Everything else there could be a comedy show, but if it doesn't have canned laughter, it's not a sitcom. But maybe that's an outdated way of thinking it, because like in the 21st century, canned laughter kind of went away.
Sure.
And more like Office style type stuff was made.
And by canned laughter, you mean a laugh track?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
What are other things you associate with what makes a sitcom?
I think the things you describe, the Wikipedia used to describe it as a cast of characters in one place,
right?
All relating to each other.
Sitcom is it's not an acronym, but it's a shortened term, right? Because sitcom stands for situation comedy, and so it's got to be around a consistent situation, which is why like when you think of these shows, you think of places. Like when you think of Cheers, that's obvious, right? It's the bar.
Yeah.
When you think of Seinfeld, this is a little tougher because Seinfeld, you've got the diner, you've got Jerry's apartment,
See, I think of Jerry's apartment, even though obviously there's plenty of locations.
Okay, but Jerry's apartment's the main situation, you would say?
I think
it's just kind of almost, and then, with Friends, you think of the coffee shop.
Yes.
And then but that also has the apartment.
Yes.
Too. I Love Lucy. You think about Lucy and Ricky's apartment.
Yes.
But this is what's kind of interesting because situation is such a broad term here. But it does say here, not just situation, but as they navigate humorous situations within a consistent setting.
Okay.
So, like, the setting of Seinfeld is New York. Right? Same with Friends. So you kind of can think about setting a little bit more broadly, right?
Yeah.
So, but beyond those things, what else do you associate with a sitcom?
I don't know. I mean, it's a comedy show. I don't know what else I associate.
Yeah, so
with
that's kind of interesting, right?
Oh, but it has to be comedy,
right?
Yeah, because I suppose you could do the same format, but have it be
a drama.
Show. I mean, there are half-hour dramas.
Sure.
Yeah.
That are in a particular situation.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like, I think in the late 90s, early 2000s, you saw this influx of dramedies. That came up. Like, I think about Freaks and Geeks, for example. Did you ever watch that show?
Oh, that's one of my favorite shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not really a comedy, right?
I guess it's a dramedy, like
right.
you're saying. I think it's more comedy than drama.
For sure. And because the drama is like high school stuff, it's a little silly.
Yeah.
You're talking about like relationships and whatnot. But I wonder, like, as we think about this, now
I'm looking things up as we're talking.
What are you looking up?
Just different things that are coming to my mind, shows that I'm trying to remember.
Yeah.
That you just made me think of. Yeah.
Well, okay, let me sort of answer my own
Have you
question.
seen Togetherness?
No.
You know Mark Duplass?
No.
Okay. All right.
What to talk about it?
It's a really good show on. It was on HBO. It's kind of a dramedy. Maybe it's more drama than comedy. But
so, like, I guess, all right, this is like maybe a tangentially related question, but like, what do you think is the difference between a dramedy and a comedy?
The difference between dramedy and comedy, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, it's just kind of it's kind of interesting, right? Because now and
are you saying because a lot of sitcoms have drama in them?
Well, some of them do.
But the emphasis, but it's always light.
Yeah.
It's never too serious. It's the emphasis is always on the comedy.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's just where the emphasis is.
So I think the one thing that's interesting about Seinfeld to me is there's no drama really in the show.
There is, but it's all comedic. You know what I mean?
But, like, in other words, Elaine and Jerry never get together, and there's never really any sexual tension between them, besides in a couple very early episodes.
That's true. Okay, so is All in the Family a dramedy? It's not.
No.
It's a sitcom. It's a comedy, but there's a lot of drama.
There
is
a lot of drama.
It's a lot of social commentary, and it's a very serious show in a lot of ways.
Well, and okay. Let me answer your question by providing another example.
Okay.
Because I think this relates. So, Cheers. Cheers is a story of a recovering alcoholic who is, like, forced in this purgatory where he owns a bar.
Yeah.
And while he's there, he falls in love with a waitress, Diane, Sam and Diane, of course, and they have this on-again, off-again thing for about 5 seasons. And one of the bartenders, Coach, dies, right? And there's, like, describing the show, I'm not describing a comedy.
Right.
Right?
That's interesting.
Norm, who's one of the regular patrons of the show, he's always losing his job, right? There's, so far, everything I've described, there's nothing really all that funny about it.
But you could say those same things about Seinfeld. I mean, people losing jobs, people having weird relationships that end poorly and awkwardly. And
I guess the difference is, like, there's an episode of Cheers, well, actually a whole season kind of Cheers where Sam relapses.
Okay.
In season 3, when Diane leaves the bar to go, this is the goofy part.
So I've never watched Cheers, like, I watched random episodes, but I was never a Cheers fan.
I think, so, the sort of story is that Sam and Diane try to date in season 2, and it doesn't work out, and Diane leaves the bar to go become a nun.
Okay.
And so Sam starts drinking again. The whole cast of characters gets together, convinces him to stop drinking, but also to go find Diane.
Yeah, nothing about this is funny.
Right. And so Sam goes to the nunnery and is like, I love you and I want to get back together. And she says, no, I'm not going to get back together with you, but I will come back to the bar.
Okay.
So the situation's kind of a little funny and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, the line between drama and comedy has always been difficult to draw. I suppose the canned laughter would be an element that would make it a comedy.
Do you like that aspect of sitcoms?
I do, and I'm going to talk about my favorite sitcom. Oh, do I like the laugh track?
Do you like the laugh track?
Oh, I see. Okay. I thought you were asking if I like the dramatic element.
No.
I think I am used to it because I grew up with it.
Okay.
It's interesting when you talk to kids now.
Yeah, I think people now would look at it as very cheesy and like, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
And like,
well, just no shows really have it anymore.
No, and I think it's just not authentic, and because everyone has a phone now and a camera,
sure,
people just want more authentic things.
Here's another element, though. I want to go back to the first question I asked you, which was what makes a sitcom, because I have an answer that I did not see in the Wikipedia entry.
Yeah.
The theory, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think a sitcom has to have a working class focus.
Really? Okay.
A working class, and often a familial focus. When we talk about all these shows, that's one thing you saw in common.
So we're not going to get an Epstein Island remake of Gilligan's Island?
It would be great if we had a laugh track for that. that would be a great laugh track show.
Oh my God.
Because I think often sitcoms have to involve ordinary people.
Yeah.
I'm racking my brain trying to think about sitcoms that do not involve ordinary people.
Here's a question. Is Sex and the City a sitcom?
Well,
that's
no laugh track.
Right.
It's not really about a traditional working class situation.
Well, that's why I brought it up.
Right?
Yeah, that's not like
it kind of is like a dramedy a drama with comedic moments, right?
Yeah.
Because the show.
Oh, that's true.
I'm not a huge Sex and the City fan.
Me neither. I always looked at it as more of a comedy, but you're right. It is. Maybe it's a dramedy.
Right. I think it's a drama with comedic moments.
Yeah, you're right.
But I think what's interesting about the working class element of this.
Yeah.
And why I think that's really important is because of actually animated sitcoms too. So here's what the Wikipedia entry says about animated sitcoms. Here are the ones that it represents: The Flintstones, The Jetsons, The Simpsons, King of the Hill, South Park, SpongeBob, and Family Guy.
And none of those have laugh tracks, I just realized.
No, The Flintstones did.
The Flintstones did.
Maybe the Jetsons did too.
I haven't seen them in so long.
The Flintstones definitely had a laugh track.
I used to watch them when I was a kid.
Which is very funny to think of a studio audience.
But
for
those
the Flintstones.
Those are working class, normal
Those are
people.
all working class people. Even the Jetsons is about working class people in space.
It's probably because it's always been an art form that is trying to appeal to everybody and be this thing that everyone can get. Obviously to bring in the most viewers, but yeah, also it's something everyone can relate to.
Well, that's the thing then, right?
Okay.
No,
did you have something you want to say?
Well, I think you're about to say it, but I'll say it.
Yeah.
The thing about the sitcom is that unlike big budget action thrillers and fantasy stuff and even dramas that are about like police stations and fire stations and CSI investigations and stuff, like the sitcom is supposed to be the relatable art form.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a slice of life picture of what it's like to live in the world at that time.
Well, in America
at
that time. At least that's what it always was.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think that that to me is actually more defining of a sitcom than the laugh track.
That's a really great point. Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
See, I think this is actually more of a commentary on like how screwed up our country is now to me.
Okay.
Because we used to have stuff like that. Well, we used to have a monoculture where we all watched the same stuff, but we used to have a general idea of what it meant to live in this country and the experience of that. And now everything is fragmented and everyone has 15 different ideas of what what reality is.
Right.
And we don't relate to each other. We don't have these shared experiences. We don't have. It drives division between us if we're not sharing the same experiences and experiencing the same things.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think that I want to talk about the way television and sitcoms, if they still even exist today, are consumed now. But I want to elaborate on this point a little bit more, which is because I've thought about also like something particularly that unites the characters of all of the sitcoms that were mentioned. And by the way, the other sitcom I want to throw into this conversation right now is, you know who Chuck Klosterman is?
Yes.
Okay. Chuck Klosterman wrote a book called But What If We're Wrong? Mm-hmm. Have you read this book?
No.
Fantastic book. And which he goes through and he talks about music and movies and culture and stuff. He talks about he has a whole essay in this book about sitcoms.
Uh-huh.
And he thinks the defining sitcom of all time is Roseanne.
Okay.
Not because it's the best sitcom, but because he thinks the most defining one of the genre.
I can see that.
And when I thought about Roseanne, and I thought about Roseanne in context of a lot of these other sitcoms, I think one thing that unites these characters is that they're always like kind of struggling, but they're fine, right? And I think that's the element. If you make the characters like too poor or too down on their luck or whatever, it's not relatable, right?
Okay.
Because people who are struggling in life don't have time to watch sitcoms. But if they're too well off, it's not relatable to the common average guy.
Well, but Roseanne was kind of the first sitcom to do that, to have like a family with those struggles.
Talk about that a little bit more.
There wasn't really sitcoms about like you just said, it's like a working class art form, but Roseanne really put that in perspective because, like, I don't know, a lot of the popular sitcoms in the 80s were like Family Ties and what were some of the other ones?
Well, okay.
It wasn't about like real people working class jobs.
Taxi.
I guess that was, yeah.
But that was also a little bit strange because you had the whole cast of characters, right? The Kaufman character was weird.
Yeah, that was kind of like a bunch of eccentric people in New York. I love that show.
Yeah.
But that wasn't like a working class family, which is, you know, middle of America, working class type people struggling to get by, dealing with stuff that you deal with in that situation.
Or like Full House.
But again, that's kind of like, those are, all the families were like portrayed as like kind of perfect on those shows.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like everything was always perfect and resolved.
Yeah.
And everyone loved each other. And Roseanne got more into reality.
Right.
Like the intricate details of an actual family relationship and the financial struggles people actually deal with.
Yeah. There are a lot of shows, and speaking of YouTube, I love watching like the YouTube breakdowns, commentaries on different shows. There are a lot of shows where you wonder financially how it works, right? Like there's no way that this
Friends is absurd.
Friends is a good one.
Yeah.
Even Seinfeld's a good one.
Yes.
I think that there's the one, and I love the show, and I can't believe I'm blanking on the name, with Tony Danza and Alyssa Milano.
Who's the Boss?
Who's the Boss is another one where you start to think financially how does this work?
Why?
Well, because she works like a really high-powered job, apparently, but they're able to afford everything on that show.
This used to be a great country, Brian. I don't know if you know this, but
it's like how much is she paying Tony Danza of all to live there?
Well, my impression from that show is she had made a lot of money.
But she had to be making millions of dollars.
I mean, that's what I assumed.
Okay,
that she was a very high paid person.
All right, maybe.
Also, it wasn't crazy back in the day for one person to support a household.
Well,
you used to be able to do that.
That's become super outdated with the animated shows.
Here's another thing about sitcoms is that how subversive a lot of them were,
right?
And how they affected our culture. Even that,
yeah. Who's the boss?
That's a woman supporting the household.
Absolutely.
At that time, I think that was subversive.
Do you know Dan Quayle had like a huge objection to that show? Because of that?
I didn't know that.
He didn't think it would promote good family values.
That's very
But
funny.
yeah, a lot of those shows were not only subversive, but also like pioneering in terms of cultural morals and cultural impact.
Yeah, even going back to I Love Lucy, seeing an interracial couple.
100%.
And then All in the Family obviously is all about social commentary.
Even Three's Company, which was ridiculous, but
oh wow, I forgot about Three's Company.
So just kind of, it was a scandalous, raunchy situation, right?
Yes.
Full House was one I brought up, which was the mom is dead and the three guys are raising the daughters.
But a lot of those, I know maybe I already said this, but a lot of those 80s, especially sitcoms, portrayed these perfect families.
Right.
What about before the 80s? Were they doing that before the 80s?
Well, you had like The Honeymooners.
I don't remember
which
that
was
one.
the husband and wife, and
I never watched that one.
some light like playful domestic violence is how I've heard it. Like
Jesus.
why I oughta, and
Oh,
hit.
The Honeymooners. Okay,
Yeah,
sorry, I didn't.
But then you
you
also had a show like Andy Griffith, for example.
Okay,
Which
I never watched that.
Which was kind of the good old fashioned families type thing.
I think most sitcoms were that throughout history until Roseanne.
Right.
And that's why that show was so really blew open a lot of doors.
I think that's interesting. I don't know if I would have. I think Klosterman might talk about it in that essay. It's been a while since I've read it.
I mean, Married with Children was another one, but I think Roseanne was before that. I could be wrong.
They might have run concurrently because I feel like that show was in the 90s as well. I want to talk about a show that, if we were making this podcast, by the way, 20 years ago, it would have been insane to have gone this long without mentioning this show.
Okay.
Do you know what show I'm going to talk about?
20 years ago, and we haven't mentioned it
yet.
Yeah. 20 years ago? Wait, we haven't talked about it yet?
Yeah, we're talking. We've missed a very famous sitcom that people would be shocked that we haven't talked about yet.
Is it Frasier?
No.
20 years.
Although we should shout out Frasier. That's the best spin-off show of all time.
God, I don't know now.
The Cosby Show.
Oh, okay. All right.
There's a reason we haven't talked about the Cosby Show, but that was a really interesting. Talk about subversive, by the way, right?
Talk about Cosby. I'm going to have a drink.
Okay, go. Yeah, be careful. I put something in it. Cosby Show's interesting, right? Because here you had a guy, Bill Cosby, who plays a character in Dr. Cliff Huxtable, who's considered to be like the paradigm of what a father should be, but in particular, like a good role model for young black men.
Yeah.
Right? Which is now, of course, layered in just a ton of irony.
Yes.
But this idea of that show being subversive, too.
Yes, that's another one.
Yeah.
Also, these shows, for better or worse, I guess you could say it could be bad or good, but they kind of created a moral compass for America, didn't they?
Yes.
Like they would preach values.
Yes.
And some of them, maybe you could have plenty of criticisms. I actually think Roseanne is maybe some criticisms of what came before it, because it's like, well, that's not really how life is. Life isn't perfect. It's messy. We're struggling to get by. But whatever. It gave us a unifying vision of morals and what we are as Americans. And that's kind of what I was saying earlier about how we've lost that now that we don't have a monoculture. And now everyone is off in different realities of what the country is.
Every episode, I can't believe I forgot Who's the Boss, because every episode of Who's the Boss has a message at the end of it. Every episode of The Cosby Show had a message.
Yeah.
They were all really like pointed in terms of how they do it.
Family Matters did that.
And to do that and be funny at the same time, that's really hard to do.
Yes.
Imagine if at the end of each of our jokes on stand-up comedy, we had to say, and the point of that joke was, right? Like, but let's talk about modern culture for a second. So how the sitcom evolved, what is a sitcom, that kind of stuff. Because you and I both love The Office.
Yeah.
It is my favorite television show of all time. I'm wearing an Office shirt right now, if you can see it at home. We love it. It was so revolutionary when it came out. And ironically, it's a show that's actually more popular now than it was when it debuted.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So when we, and I know like too much about The Office, right? But when The Office debuted, it was like the third most popular show on NBC. On this one network alone, because 30 Rock was more popular than The Office, like significantly more, especially with the critics.
30 Rock is funny, but it's not
The Office.
Nowhere near The Office.
But so the question is, like, is The Office a sitcom? And I'll defend it as a sitcom. And if it's not, why? I think it's a sitcom because it involves a consistent setting and consistent situation, right? That office.
I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm changing my laugh track idea
Answer.
in
Yeah,
my
yeah, yeah.
head. Yeah, I think that's more of a that actually kind of was the basis of all modern sitcoms.
Right.
Now it feels like every sitcom now, for the few that exist, is that style. Like that, I have never seen the show, but Abbott Elementary.
Well, I have Abbott written down here because I
Have
want
you
to talk.
seen that?
Yeah, I
Okay,
want to
I've
talk
never
about it
seen
in a
it.
second. But okay, so I agree with you that The Office did kind of set the paradigm, the standard for what a modern sitcom is. And what's so weird about that is that what a lot of shows do is they copy the mockumentary format, but it makes no sense in those worlds. So, like, I'll give you an example. Like, have you ever seen Modern Family?
Not really.
Okay.
A little bit.
I've seen every episode of Modern Family. That was a show that was insanely popular when it came out. I don't know if you remember this, but Obama and Romney both said it was their favorite television show when they were running for president in 2012.
I don't remember that.
It was like the show that was like universally beloved and accepted. And I think in some ways it was like maybe the last like highly watched sitcom ever.
Well, that was the tail end of the monoculture.
Sure.
So,
but what I don't like about Modern Family is they have like cutaways of the characters talking to the camera, but the cameramen are not characters in the show the way that they are in The Office. Like in The Office, it's very clearly stated, hey, this is a documentary about this paper company. That's never addressed at all in Modern Family. So who are they talking to when they are talking to the camera? Who are the cutaways for? It's just a way for them to kind of copy The Office, and also, by the way, a way for them to like get away with jokes that wouldn't have worked otherwise.
Okay. Well, shows have broken the fourth wall plenty of times.
Sure. But not in the Office style. Like even Parks and Rec. Parks and Rec, the first season, it's kind of presented as a documentary. But by the end of it, they're still talking to the camera, but the cameramen aren't characters in the show.
They're not okay. They're not on Parks and Rec.
So if there's a criticism of The Office,
didn't they talk to the camera in Arrested Development?
When?
I thought they did in that show, but I can't remember. I've
seen every episode of Arrested Development. I don't really remember them ever talking.
All right, maybe they didn't.
But Arrested Development's actually on this list. Is that a sitcom?
I think so.
Why?
Yeah. Because it's all the metrics that you mentioned. It's a family interacting with each other.
But what's the consistent setting? I guess it's that house.
Yeah, that's how I see it.
Okay.
But I didn't watch a ton of Arrested Development. I watched a few episodes.
Okay. Wow, that's shocking to me because it's so critical of the Bush administration, like explicitly. It's wild.
I gotta watch it more.
Yeah.
I just didn't.
It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia feels more like a sitcom than Arrested Development does.
Yes,
because they're all around the bar.
That's definitely a sitcom.
Yeah. What about 30 Rock?
That's a sitcom.
Okay.
It's like the modern sitcom.
Sure. Community?
I never saw that.
Oh, you'd like Community, yeah.
Okay.
So I'm just kind of, I guess I'm just kind of randomly listing off. But like, it felt like there was an era of the sitcom revitalization, if you will, in the mid 2000s to the 2010s with all of those shows. And maybe revitalization is the wrong word. Maybe they never really hadn't gone away yet.
It was an evolution of sitcom.
Evolution's the better word.
Yeah,
because
it wasn't the traditional sitcom, but it was in spirit. It was,
right,
but it wasn't.
Because Seinfeld ends in 1998, and then Friends ends in the early 2000s. And
TV was amazing in the early 2000s. That was probably some of the best TV.
I agree.
Ever. But now no one watches TV. So
and so let's talk about this. What's happened recently?
Yeah, that's interesting. I would like to know what is the equivalent of a sitcom now. I don't think it exists.
So the two shows I thought about when I thought about the modern sitcom in 2025 or whatever, there are two shows that came to mind. The first is Abbott Elementary.
Okay.
And the second is Ted Lasso.
But those are dinosaurs. They're like, it's like this sad husk of what used to exist.
I agree. I'm curious. Okay, did you ever see Ted Lasso either?
No.
Okay. Well, I'm curious why.
And neither has anyone else.
I disagree.
There's a few liberal white women in New York City that love Ted Lasso.
Well, you accused me of being a liberal white woman.
You are
at
heart. At heart, you're a liberal white woman.
I guess I'm curious because those two shows stuck out to me because of how popular they were amongst the people I hang out with, which apparently is a bunch of liberal white women. I don't know.
Who are you hanging out with? No, they're not.
Well, not around your weird circle of Jimmy Dore fans.
No, I mean I know the people you hang out with. They're not watching Ted Lasso.
I've talked with a lot of people who watch Ted Lasso.
Yeah, Nick Dravosel is a big Ted Lasso guy.
No, well, maybe this is in a prior life of mine, right?
Okay.
But I think that something that frustrates me about both of those shows, I guess maybe I'm making this point to make a point against them, but what frustrates me about Ted Lasso and what frustrates me about Abbott Elementary is that they both take the sitcom and instead of trying to send a message themselves, they take what the culture is giving them and try to reflect that. It's like an inverted sitcom, right? So I'll give you an example. The second episode of Cheers ever is this guy comes into the bar and he says, I'm in a terrible situation. He's like, my son is dating a black girl, and I don't know how to deal with this. And there's a very funny line that Coach said. He goes, I'm guessing your son isn't black? And it's a white guy. Which is such a great line. Okay. So funny. But this was like going against the predominant culture in a lot of ways. To send a message that it's okay to be in an interracial relationship.
Okay.
And that you shouldn't, as a parent, have any conflicts or qualms about it, I suppose. When you look at a show like Abbott or Ted Lasso, like it becomes really frustrating when it's so obvious that they're trying to adapt the show to fit whatever they think the culture wants. I feel this way more about Ted Lasso, by the way, than I do about Abbott.
Do you have any examples of
Ted Lasso?
things?
I'll give you a really good example.
Yeah.
So,
because I've never seen the show.
Okay. So Ted Lasso is about a American football coach who goes.
No, you mean soccer?
No. No, like passing football.
Oh, American football.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who gets hired by a team in England to be a soccer coach. And
that's why I was confused.
Yeah,
okay.
The reason he gets hired by that team in England is because the owner of that team is trying to tank the team.
Okay.
So she thinks by hiring a dumb football coach that the team will just tank. And, of course, the irony, which by the premise of the show. This is what also frustrates me about Ted Lasso. By the premise of the show what's going to happen.
Yes.
Guess what happens.
He's going to be awesome, and the team's going to do
exactly.
Great.
Well, and it's not exactly what happens, but it's pretty much what ends up happening. So Ted Lasso is interesting because he comes in, and the way that he's able to kind of win over the players is that he has like all this like really simple down home sort of, values, and the way that he talks is just like super, like he's not like a sophisticated guy, right?
Okay.
He's not stupid necessarily, but he's just kind of plain and simple, right?
Yeah.
And that's what's supposed to create the comedy around it. But what becomes really frustrating about the show is that in season 2, it turns out that Ted Lasso has suffered all of this psychological trauma in his life.
Okay.
And he needs to resolve that psychological trauma in therapy. But guess what? He's really resistant to going to therapy, and he has a major distrust of therapists.
All right.
And so the whole point of the show is like, hey, it's actually really cool to seek mental health treatment, right? Which would be potentially radical if it wasn't so ham-fisted.
Okay.
There's really
but this just sounds like bad writing.
It's terrible writing.
Because it's like, I feel like you're talking about the difference between showing and telling.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's 100% that.
Cheers showed why it's fine to date out of your race.
Right.
Like Ted Lasso is telling you this.
But it's also like it's not like a very interesting message to send.
Okay.
Because there's nothing really radical.
Are there any in Abbott Elementary?
I can't say I've seen a ton of Abbott Elementary.
Okay.
But the show,
but this is just, to me, but you know how I feel about this stuff.
Sure.
This is what Hollywood does now. Everything is telling you what to think, basically.
Yeah.
They've actually sacrificed story a lot of the time in relatable movies and relatable stories to tell you what to think.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have that issue with Hollywood. And that's the difference is like, you used to write, it was story first, and like you could show something artistically. Now it's like, think this, and if you don't, you're bad.
Well, I just find that beyond what I think of it politically or whatever, it's just a boring way to do it. There's nothing really all that interesting.
Well, yeah,
about
it's
doing
bad
it that
writing.
Way. Yeah.
And then it's also just like, I mean, it's just.
This reminds me of the Seinfeld joke, the episode of Seinfeld where Bryan Cranston's character converts to Judaism.
Okay.
And he starts making Jewish jokes.
Oh, I remember that.
And someone asked Jerry, "Does this offend you as a Jewish person?" He goes, "No, it offends me as a comedian." Right? That's what it is. Who cares about the moral aspect of this? This offends me as a enjoyer of sitcoms.
Right.
Because the beauty of Seinfeld was that it wasn't doing that. And the beauty of shows that did that, like Who's the Boss or The Cosby Show or someone's going to clip me, by the way, saying all the positive stuff about The Cosby Show. The Cosby Show or I Love Lucy or whatever is that it felt controversial. There's nothing about Ted Lasso, and there's definitely nothing about Abbott Elementary that feels controversial. There's nothing about that show that feels interesting to me.
No, and The Office was controversial.
The Office was super controversial.
And people try to act like those episodes should be, some people, I've heard them say, oh, this is inappropriate, it should be banned or something.
Yeah.
Like the Diversity Day episode.
For sure.
Which, to me, see, that is the genius, and that's what's so special about comedy. They act like that's bad, like it's racist.
Yeah.
Pointing out people's races and writing it on their foreheads and all this. But the joke is that this isn't a stupid way to think.
Yeah.
You know, like people don't understand like satire anymore or something.
Yeah.
My favorite Office episode is Scott's Tots.
Oh yeah.
Which I don't know how that would play today, but most people hate that episode. I think it's the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Because of how uncomfortable it is and all of that.
So for those of you that have never seen The Office, we're about to spoil something here, but that episode is great because Michael Scott, even just thinking about it makes me laugh. Michael Scott, like years before the documentary started, promised a group of third graders that if they graduated high school, he would pay all of their college tuition.
Yes.
He did this really because he was a very lonely, desperate man who wanted positive attention.
Yes.
And did not do the financial calculation. This would end up costing him millions of dollars.
And it's not just any third graders. It's like disenfranchised black kids.
It's a group of poor black third graders.
Yes, yes.
And did not realize it. But what happens is they all, because of this promise, end up graduating high school. And now the bill is due.
Right.
And he has to go confront this group of now high school seniors who've been promised college tuition since they were in third grade that he cannot pay for their tuition.
Yeah. They do a whole dance number for him.
Yeah,
it's the funniest
amazing
thing I've ever seen in my life.
But that's so, it's not, I like the episode and it's so cringy, but I love it because it's cringy. Why is that your favorite episode of The Office?
For that reason, it's just so uncomfortable that I just find stuff like that so funny.
Right.
Like this unbelievably awkward, uncomfortable situation.
Yeah.
It's just so funny.
To me, the best part of that episode is after he leaves and he's there with his new secretary, Erin, and she says, I bet a lot of those kids wouldn't have graduated high school if you hadn't made that promise. That to me is like the moral message potentially, the subversive moral message. The
Office had heartfelt moments like that all the time, and then they start singing the song in the car. It's very funny, but they had moments like that all the time, like when he comes to see Pam's painting.
Oh yeah,
I love that scene.
Oh, that scene makes me cry. There's so many, and that's what makes The Office so special to me. Is like I love Seinfeld, I love it, but it never makes me cry.
No,
there's so many Jim and Pam moments that make me cry. There's so many Michael moments that make me cry, honestly.
Yeah.
And there's just a lot of really touching moments of that show. But I want to, because we got to wrap up here kind of soon. There
was something else I wanted to say about the messaging thing there.
Well, go
ahead. Maybe we shouldn't get into this because this is a whole other topic. Yeah, I don't think it's that, people complain about woke stuff, right? And that's kind of what we were talking about without saying it earlier.
Sure.
Which is this like telling people what to think versus let's show something, let's be artistic.
Yeah.
that's, you know how people get mad if like they recast a white character and it's a black guy playing him or whatever.
Yeah,
people get mad, and then they're like, "Oh, you're racist if you care about that."
Right.
And like that's kind of in line with that, I think, because it's like forcing you to be like, you should like this, you know, and if you don't, you're racist.
Right.
Like, it's got nothing to do with that for me. For instance, like there's a new It TV show, and it's based in New England, obviously.
Okay.
And the cast is very diverse. There's only like one white guy, and then there's like all kinds of other sexes and races.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that doesn't. I got annoyed because it doesn't make sense in context of the story. Well, in New England, that Ganem has a joke about that, which is very funny.
Okay.
Like in the fucking 50s New England, there's not a lot of like black people.
Right.
And
Sure.
all that. But
in 2025 in New England, there aren't a lot of
that's
black people.
true. I mean, well, especially in Maine.
Right.
Maine is the whitest state in the country.
Sure.
And so I got annoyed because I was like, oh, why do they like change characters? But then he told me, oh no, it's a origin. It's like before the events of the original story.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, I don't care that's great then.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like it annoys me because they change established characters.
Yeah.
Into like we know what Wolverine looks like.
Yeah.
You know, you don't. Wolverine isn't like a gay black woman.
Right.
And to cast Wolverine as a gay black woman would be ridiculous.
Yeah.
Not because I don't like gay black women.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make any fucking sense.
Well, we've talked about this a lot.
But they do a lot of that kind of stuff where it's like changing characters to I don't even know what the point is. Why can't we create new characters? It's almost like a lazy thing.
Sure.
Because just create new characters. I would love to see a gay black woman superhero. Write that character. I'd love to see it. Well, well, I mean, anyways, I feel like I sound like
they can't write it interesting. But here's what I'll say about this.
So that I've gone on a racist rant.
No. I love it, and there's nothing that you said that I would consider racist.
Well, some people probably would.
As a person of color myself. But
well, I'm a person of color.
That's
now,
true.
So.
Armenian?
Yes.
Here's what I'll say. We've talked a lot about how it felt more diverse in the 70s and 80s than it does today.
Yes, and even an episode like Diversity Day brings us together.
Right.
Like joking about our racial differences and having a sense of humor, that brings us together.
Yeah.
Like this crap of don't say that and you're bad and think this, that drives people apart.
If the point of a character is that they are a different race, that to me is more racist than making jokes at the expense of a character's race.
Yes.
Because that's part of who they are as a character, right? That's the real question is, do you just have a black person in here to have a black person in here, or do you have a black person in here because it adds to the fabric of the story and the narrative?
Right, exactly. There's a big difference.
And that's where...
And what do we do as people? We joke about our races.
Right.
Like our friends, me and Shane and Chuck, we're always making Jew jokes because they're Jewish. Like, they make fun of me. I'm Armenian. Like,
right.
We do this all the time.
Absolutely.
That's how you relate and have fun. It's not a hateful thing.
Well, and I'm part of two minority groups, right? I'm part of the LGBTQ group.
That I don't like.
Okay,
but,
right, sure. I'm a part of that group, and I'm a part of the racial minority, right? So it's definitely like if you were to write a character like me into a movie or into a TV show, you wouldn't. I would be upset if you did it just to have a Indian bisexual in it. But if it adds to the story, if it adds to the narrative, then sure.
And people get, Pharrell Williams was just in the news. He got all this shit for saying stuff like that. I don't know if you saw that.
But actually, what you just said once leads me to my final point here, which is that part of a sitcom, what made a sitcom so special back in the day, was actually not the situation of the characters, but it was the situation of the audience. And here's what I mean. I mean, it seemed to me that the best part of a sitcom was the next day going to work and talking about it.
Yes.
The situation.
And what does that do? That brings us together.
Right. The situation is actually not the apartment in Seinfeld or the bar in Cheers or whatever. It's the situation the next day where you would go into the office around the water cooler and say, "Oh my God, did you see what Kramer did? Or did you see what happened on, in Cheers? Did you see what happened with Sam
in
and
high
Diane?
school? The kids in my high school would come in saying Seinfeld quotes from the episode
From the night before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And I think that is what's missing today.
Yes.
Because we could all watch. We could all go. We could even do an experiment, right? Where we get 10 of our friends. We say, okay, go watch a TV show, and then come back and we'll talk about it. We probably end up choosing 10 different TV shows to watch.
100%.
And you talk about bringing us together and stuff. Television, I think, often now divides us more.
It does.
Than it brings us together, from the sense that it really, like, you get mad when people haven't watched the show that you're watching.
Yeah.
I have so many people, because I love to cook. I have so many people who tell me you have to watch The Bear. And I've seen like a couple of episodes. It's fine, whatever. But people get mad at me. They're like, how have you not watched The Bear? You have to watch The Bear.
Yeah, and so some of that is because of how we consume content with the devices and all that.
Right.
And then some of it is ideological garbage.
Yeah.
Where, late night shows are a perfect example.
Yeah.
Who's watching Jimmy Kimmel and Stephen Colbert? It's a specific type of person.
Yeah.
If you're anywhere in the center or right of center, you probably don't want to listen to that garbage.
Sure.
Whereas the old late night shows appealed to everybody.
Yeah.
It wasn't this political divide.
Right.
Like there's some people that'll only watch Fox News, and then there's some people who only. I mean, dude, you see it all the time. A celebrity says something you like politically. It's like, oh, I like this person even more now.
Right.
I'm going to support everything they do.
Yeah.
And that's for both sides.
Yep.
Right wing people will be Sydney Sweeney or something,
right.
and then left wing is all these other people.
Yep.
Like, anyway, sorry.
No,
I know we have to wrap up.
No. But I think that this is a really good point, and it gets to the final question, which is now the final question that we ask every episode, which is, Chris, what is the theory of sitcoms?
Well, I think it used to be a reflection of ourselves and our society, and a moral compass of some sort for Americans, and what we were all feeling and thinking, and trying to relate to one another and bringing us together in some way as a culture. And now that's totally gone, which I think is very sad.
Right.
And what we didn't talk about was what the modern equivalent of that would be. Like, is it TikTok videos? Is that the new
memes?
Yeah. Maybe memes are. Maybe that actually is a good point.
Memes?
Everyone recognizes certain memes, right? So that's a sad replacement to me for the art of sitcom. But I think it's supposed to be a cultural. What do they call that? A cultural point where we all come together.
Yeah, like a cultural crux or a cultural similarity,
which doesn't exist anymore, and I think has hurt our country and our culture and our personal relationships.
Yeah.
Our family relationships. People just seem very disjointed in all aspects.
So I came in here with the intention of saying that the theory of sitcoms was that last point I made. It was about going to the water cooler after, sharing the experience or whatever. That's been validated. But the one thing you brought up that I think was interesting and I hadn't considered is that, like, I think that the great thing about sitcoms was the showing and not telling. That they would demonstrate this message in humorous ways or whatever, and that was the point. You would get the point from that. Now it feels very much of this telling, not showing thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
There were so many shows when I was a kid that had, like, I don't know, gay characters,
right?
Black characters,
right?
But they weren't on the show because they were gay and black.
Right.
It was part of the story.
Yep.
Dawson's Creek is a teen drama from the 90s.
Sure.
That had the first gay kiss
right.
ever on television. But the point wasn't like, let's cram in a gay story so that we can tell people that they should think this. It was just a natural thing. Like these people, this kid was struggling with feeling that way, and then he met a dude, and
Let me ask one final bonus question here.
Yeah.
If you were to pitch your sitcom today,
you
were to go to a network and pitch your sitcom today, what would you pitch?
Oh my God, that's a huge question. I don't even know where to start with that.
Yeah.
No one would watch it. No one wants to watch a sitcom.
That's funny.
Yeah, I mean, what would it even be? It wouldn't even make sense, I feel like.
I would pitch I'd pitch What Happens Here Every Day at the Zebra Room, of course.
I mean, dude, we didn't even talk about Louie, which is one of the greatest fucking things
there were a lot
ever.
of sitcoms we didn't
but
pitch,
to me, that's the kind of show I love, like a very real show about real life.
Yeah.
That's why I love Roseanne, Louie, Married with Children was funny.
I want to see, the reason I asked that last question was not because I thought you'd have an answer, but because there needs to be an answer. We need to bring back the sitcom. There needs to be a new evolution of this genre.
I have so many answers. Oh my! I didn't even mention my favorite sitcom.
Which is what?
It's going to sound ridiculous. It's Home Improvement.
That is ridiculous.
Which I know it's ridiculous, but it's because when I was a kid, I grew up watching it, and it reminds me of that. But dude, to answer your question though, I think what this country needed in regards to that was Roseanne when it first came back before she was fired.
Oh.
It was so good. Because you had it, I just wish it stayed on television because you had real conversations in Americans. Like she was a Trump supporter.
Right.
What's her sister there was a left-wing person, and they were having those real conversations.
Yeah,
that's the show that we need.
Of course,
where we are different, but we're all part of the same family. That kind of show, but. What happens when you try to do that? It gets canceled.
Right.
So, I mean, that's the culture we live in now. Why did that happen? Because Roseanne made an idiotic joke on Twitter.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's a symptom. I know you don't like talking about politics, but our culture and politics are intertwined.
We've got to go here, but let's do this. We'll definitely talk about.
I'm going to do an hour when he leaves. Can you just keep filming me? Sorry.
We'll talk about culture and politics a lot more on future episodes. But here's what I want you guys to do listening here is give us a comment on YouTube. I want to do a mailbag episode of this podcast at some point. And talk about things that we've talked about here. Talked about your favorite sitcom, all that stuff. We want to hear from you guys. Keene, really quickly, anything you want to plug?
I'm doing a show at Flappers with Jimmy Dore. That's at the day after Thanksgiving. If you want to come to that,
and you can find me here at the Zebra Room almost every day. So I think this went well. We'll be back, and thank you to our in-house producer Matt Slayer for filming all of this, and we'll be back next time.
Where's the Zebra Room located?
You can find the Zebra Room in a couple of different places. You can find us online. You can find us at zebraroomcomedy.com. You can find us on Instagram at zebraroomcomedy. You can find us on our email, zebraroomcomedy@gmail.com. But if you are looking for us physically, we are located in East Hollywood at 5176 Santa Monica Boulevard, suite number 102.
What's your personal phone number, Brian?
Yeah, and my social security number? No. We have shows here every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and most Sundays. We've got open mics here every day. And we would love to see you stop by for a show. We'd love to see you stop by. If you're a comic, come do an open mic here. And we'd love to see you rent out this beautiful podcast space, guys. This is a really cool space. Chris, what did you think of it?
I think it's lovely.
He thinks it's lovely, and I definitely did not pay him to say that. So come check us out wherever.
And this may be my last episode because on next episode I will be recast as a gay black woman.
That's right.
So
that's right.
That is.
All right. Next time. Thank you.